A good smoothie lives or dies by the blender that makes it. Anyone who's ever choked down a lumpy, half-blended mess with chunks of frozen banana still floating in it knows exactly what a weak motor and dull blades will do to your morning routine. On the other end of that spectrum are machines so powerful and so well-engineered that they turn kale stems, frozen mango, and ice cubes into something silky smooth in under a minute every single time. Today we're counting down the 8 best smoothie maker blenders you can buy right now, looking at what actually makes each one worth your money, from motor power and blade design to noise level, cleanup, and long-term durability. Number 8. Hamilton Beach Power Elite. The blender that consistently proves you don't need to spend a fortune to get a genuinely capable smoothie machine. It's built around a 700-watt motor, which sounds modest compared to some of the premium machines further up this list. But Hamilton Beach compensates smartly through blade geometry rather than raw power alone. The stainless steel blades are set at a specific multi-level angle, positioned so that ingredients are constantly pulled down into the blade path, instead of just spinning uselessly around the top of the jar, which is the exact problem that causes those frustrating air pockets and uneven blends in cheaper machines. For everyday smoothies made with fresh fruit, yogurt, and milk, it handles the job easily and quickly, producing a smooth, drinkable consistency without much fuss. Where it does show its limits is with heavier frozen loads, like a smoothie packed with ice cubes and frozen fruit straight from the freezer, where you'll sometimes need to pulse it a few extra times or add a bit more liquid to keep things moving. But for the price, that's a completely reasonable trade-off. The glass jar is a genuine advantage over plastic competitors in this price range, since glass doesn't absorb odors or stain from things like turmeric or berries the way plastic can over time, and it feels sturdier and more premium than the price tag suggests. Control is refreshingly simple, with clearly labeled speed settings and a dedicated pulse function that gives you real control over texture rather than one confusing dial. Cleanup is straightforward too, since the jar and blade assembly can go through a self-cleaning cycle by just adding warm water and a drop of dish soap and running it on high for 30 seconds. It's not going to compete with the high-end machines on raw crushing power or advanced programming, but as an entry point into home smoothie making, or as a reliable second blender for a dorm room or office kitchen, it's hard to beat. Number 7. Ninja Footy Power Blender. A machine that leans hard into versatility rather than trying to be a one-trick smoothie specialist. It comes with a powerful base motor paired with Ninja's signature stacked blade design, where blades are positioned at multiple heights along a tall central shaft rather than just sitting flat at the bottom of the jar. That vertical blade stacking means ingredients get pulled through several cutting zones as they move through the jar, which is a big part of why Ninja blenders have built such a strong reputation for crushing ice and frozen fruit into a genuinely smooth texture rather than leaving gritty, half-crushed bits behind. What sets the Footy Power Blender apart from a standard Ninja blender, though, is the added functionality, since many versions in this line include Auto IQ programs, which are preset blending sequences that pulse, blend, and pause in specific patterns optimized for different results, whether that's a thick smoothie bowl consistency, a thinner drinkable smoothie, or even nut butter. You're not guessing at how long to blend or which speed to use. You just pick the program and let the machine handle the timing. Some models in this range also include a food processor bowl attachment, letting the same base motor handle chopping vegetables or making dips, which adds genuine value if counter space is limited and you don't want a separate appliance for every task. The pitcher itself typically holds a generous capacity, enough for a family-sized batch of smoothies in one go, and the wide base design keeps the whole unit stable even when it's working through a dense load of frozen ingredients. Noise level is on the higher side during heavy-duty blends, which is worth knowing if you're making smoothies early in the morning in a shared living space, though that noise is largely a byproduct of the aggressive motor speed that makes the crushing performance possible in the first place. Cleanup is simple thanks to dishwasher-safe parts, and the pitcher's wide mouth makes it easy to scrape out thicker mixtures like smoothie bowls without wasting product stuck to the sides. Number 6. NutriBullet Pro Plus. Landing at number 6 is the NutriBullet Pro Plus, and this one earns its spot by leaning fully into the idea that a smoothie blender doesn't need to be a full-sized countertop appliance to be genuinely excellent. Instead of a traditional pitcher, the NutriBullet system uses individual cup-sized containers that double as your actual drinking vessel, so you blend directly into the cup, twist on a to-go lid, and walk out the door without ever touching a separate glass. The motor, sitting around 1200 watts on the Pro Plus model, is noticeably strong for the compact size of the unit, and that power is concentrated entirely on a small blending chamber rather than spread across a large pitcher, which means it can pulverize frozen fruit, leafy greens, and ice with impressive speed relative to its size. The extraction blade design is specifically engineered to break down fibrous ingredients like kale stems and celery more thoroughly than many larger blenders manage, which matters if you're the type of smoothie drinker who cares about actually extracting nutrients from tough plant fibers rather than leaving them in stringy chunks. Because everything runs off a simple twist and lock mechanism rather than buttons or dials, there's very little that can go wrong mechanically, and the whole system tends to be remarkably durable over years of daily use. The compact footprint is a real selling point too, since it takes up a fraction of the counter space of a full-sized blender, making it an easy fit for smaller kitchens, dorm rooms, or anyone who just doesn't want a bulky appliance sitting out permanently. The trade-off, and it's a real one, is capacity, since you're working with single-serving cups rather than a large pitcher, so it's not the right choice if you're regularly making smoothies for a whole family at once. Cleanup is about as easy as it gets, since you're really only washing one cup and one blade attachment rather than a large jar, lid, and base. Number 5. Breville Super Q. A blender that quietly outperforms a lot of louder, more heavily marketed competitors through sheer engineering thoughtfulness. It runs on a powerful motor paired with Breville's Kinetics twister blade base, a design that pairs the spinning blade with a stationary pattern etched into the jar itself, forcing ingredients to travel through a specific, repeating path rather than just spinning in a loose circle. That forced circulation is a major reason the Super Q produces such consistently smooth results even with dense, fibrous ingredients like frozen mango or whole almonds, since nothing gets the chance to just ride along the top untouched by the blades. One of its standout features is genuinely reduced noise, achieved through an integrated noise dampening design that muffles the mechanical sound of the motor without sacrificing power, which matters a lot more than people expect until they've made an early morning smoothie in a house full of sleeping family members. The control panel offers several pre-programmed settings specifically tuned for smoothies, frozen desserts, and nut milks, each running a calibrated sequence of speeds and timing rather than leaving you to guess. And there's also a manual dial for full control when you want it. A particularly smart addition is the built-in vacuum function available on higher-end Super Q bundles, which pulls air out of the jar before blending, reducing oxidation and helping smoothies stay fresher and more vibrantly colored for longer, especially noticeable with green smoothies that would otherwise start browning within an hour. The pitcher itself is large and well-balanced, with a wide base that keeps the whole unit steady during heavy use, and the tamper tool that comes included makes it easy to push down thick mixtures without ever needing to stop the machine and manually stir things with a spoon. Cleanup benefits from the same self-cleaning cycle most premium blenders now offer, running hot water and soak through the jar in under a minute. It's a genuinely premium machine, priced accordingly, but the combination of blending power, noise reduction, and smart programming makes a strong case that it's worth the investment for anyone who makes smoothies regularly rather than occasionally. Number 4. Oster Versa Performance Blender. A machine that's earned a loyal following, especially among smoothie shop owners and serious home users, for one simple reason. It's built like it's meant to run all day, every day, without complaint. The motor is genuinely industrial grade, a step above what most home blenders offer, and it's paired with a low-profile jar design that keeps the whole unit's center of gravity close to the counter, which makes a real difference in stability when you're blasting through a jar full of ice and frozen fruit at top speed. The blade assembly uses a stainless steel design set at an aggressive cutting angle, and combined with that powerful motor, it can pulverize ice into a genuinely fine, almost snow-like consistency in seconds, which is a big part of why so many professional smoothie and juice bars trust the Versa line for daily commercial use. What sets it apart from a lot of competitors is the manual timer and variable speed dial, giving you extremely granular control over both blend duration and intensity, rather than locking you into a handful of fixed presets. That level of control matters if you're experimenting with different textures, whether that's a thick, spoonable smoothie bowl or a thinner, more drinkable consistency for a to-go cup. The jar is made from durable BPA-free plastic that's noticeably tougher than what you'll find on cheaper blenders, resistant to cracking or clouding even after years of heavy use and frequent trips through the dishwasher. Noise level is on the higher end, which tracks with the motor power involved, but that's a fairly standard trade-off across every high-performance blender on this list. One particularly practical feature is the low-profile jar's wide base, which not only improves stability, but also makes it easier to scrape out thicker blends completely rather than losing product in hard-to-reach corners. For anyone who wants genuinely commercial-grade blending performance without actually buying restaurant equipment, the Oster Versa delivers a level of reliability and raw power that punches well above its price point, and its reputation among people who blend for a living speaks for itself. Number 3. Blendtec Classic 575. The Blendtec Classic 575, and this one takes a genuinely different engineering approach than most of its competitors, which is exactly why it's earned such a strong following among serious blending enthusiasts. Instead of a tall, narrow blade like most traditional blenders, Blendtec uses a short, extremely durable, blunt-edged blade that spins at very high speeds inside a wide jar. It sounds counterintuitive that a blade without a traditional sharp cutting edge would outperform sharper alternatives. But the physics work in its favor, since the sheer speed and force of the blade spinning creates a powerful vortex that pulls ingredients down into the blending zone repeatedly, relying on speed and turbulence rather than a razor edge to break everything down. That design also means the blade itself rarely needs replacing, since there's no fine edge to dull over years of crushing ice, which is a genuine long-term durability advantage over sharp-bladed competitors. The classic 575 includes several pre-programmed cycles specifically tuned for smoothies, ice cream, and hot soups, since the motor is powerful enough to generate enough friction heat to actually cook soup directly in the jar through blending alone, a party trick that also demonstrates just how much raw power is on tap. For smoothies specifically, the pre-programmed smoothie cycle runs through a carefully calibrated sequence of speed increases, starting slow to pull ingredients together before ramping up to full power, which consistently produces an ultra-smooth, almost silky texture even with dense frozen fruit and ice. The jar itself is a wide, square-based design rather than a traditional round pitcher, which might look unusual at first but genuinely improves how ingredients circulate compared to a round jar, since the corners help redirect the vortex rather than letting ingredients just spin endlessly around a smooth curve. It's also worth noting that Blendtec jars and motor bases are known for lasting many years under heavy daily use, which is part of why so many smoothie shops and juice bars rely on the Blendtec commercial lineup, of which the classic 575 is essentially a home-friendly variant. It's not the quietest machine, and the price sits firmly in premium territory, but for raw performance and long-term durability, it's one of the most respected names in the entire blending industry. Number 2. Vitamix A3500. Widely considered by professional chefs, nutritionists, and smoothie obsessives alike to be about as close to blending perfection as you can buy for home use. Vitamix has built its entire reputation on motor power and blade engineering, and the A3500 represents the company's most advanced consumer offering, combining a genuinely powerful motor with an aircraft-grade stainless steel blade set at a specific hyper-aggressive angle designed to create maximum turbulence within the jar. That turbulence is the real secret behind Vitamix's legendary smoothness, since it doesn't just cut ingredients. It actively pulls everything through a continuous, self-feeding cycle, meaning frozen fruit, ice, nuts, and even fibrous vegetables like carrots get broken down completely rather than leaving any gritty remnants behind. The A3500 model specifically adds smart programming through wireless connectivity technology built into the base, which automatically recognizes different container sizes and adjusts blending programs accordingly, along with 5 pre-programmed settings for smoothies, hot soups, frozen desserts, dips and spreads, and self-cleaning, each running a precisely calibrated combination of speed and duration developed through extensive testing. The touchscreen interface feels genuinely premium compared to the mechanical dials on cheaper machines, and the variable speed control lets you fine-tune texture with real precision, whether you want an ultra-thick smoothie bowl or a completely liquefied juice-like consistency. Vitamix jars are also known for exceptional durability, often lasting a decade or more of near-daily use without cracking or clouding, and the company backs that durability with one of the strongest warranties in the entire blender industry, which says a lot about how confident they are in the machine's longevity. The self-cleaning cycle takes under a minute and handles even stubborn, sticky residue from things like nut butter or frozen mango effectively. It's genuinely one of the most expensive blenders on this entire list, and that price is the single biggest barrier for most people. But for anyone who blends daily, cares deeply about texture, and wants a machine that will realistically still be running perfectly a decade from now, the A3500 represents about as close to a lifetime investment as kitchen appliances get. And it's easy to see why so many professionals consider it the gold standard. Number 1. Vitamix Explorian E310. And that brings us to number 1. And the pick might genuinely surprise some people, because it's not the flashiest or most expensive machine on this list. It's the Vitamix Explorian E310. What earns it the top spot is the combination of genuinely professional-grade blending performance at a price point that's dramatically more accessible than Vitamix's higher-end lineup, which makes it the smartest overall value for the vast majority of people who just want consistently excellent smoothies without paying for touchscreens and wireless connectivity they'll rarely use. Under the hood, it still uses the same fundamental engineering that makes every Vitamix legendary, an extremely powerful motor paired with an aircraft-grade stainless steel blade that creates that signature self-feeding vortex, meaning it crushes frozen fruit, ice, and leafy greens into a completely smooth consistency with the same reliability as machines costing 2 or 3 times as much. The controls are refreshingly simple, a variable speed dial and a pulse switch, no screens, no programs to learn, just direct manual control that actually gives experienced users more precise real-time feedback than some of the automated presets on pricier models. The jar holds a generous capacity, enough for a full family batch of smoothies in one blend. And it's built from the same durable, shatter-resistant material Vitamix is known for, designed to handle years of daily abuse without clouding, cracking, or dulling in performance. Because it lacks some of the bells and whistles of the flagship models, like wireless container recognition or built-in pre-programmed cycles, it's also mechanically simpler, which in practice means fewer components that can eventually fail, and combined with Vitamix's strong warranty coverage, that simplicity translates into genuine long-term reliability. Noise level is noticeably loud, which is true of nearly every high-power blender on this list, but it's a brief, worthwhile trade-off for the texture quality you get in return. Cleanup takes seconds thanks to the same simple self-cleaning method of blending warm soapy water on high speed.